Hey everyone, Erin here, and I'm here today with my June wrap-up. I did not do very well this month. I only read 3 books. I kind of just got into a reading slump and I just didn't pick up many books, which is very disappointing. So I'm just going to explain the 3 books that I read and what I thought of them. The first book I read in June was Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, and this is one of those series that I've been meaning to read for years and years, and I just never picked it up. In these last couple months I have been accumulating the series through used bookstores, and so I finally had all 4, and I was like, yes, this month I'm just going to marathon this series and it'll be great and I'll finally just get it off my TBR. However, this is the series that got me into my reading slump, unfortunately. I just didn't really enjoy it. I just had a hard time connecting with the characters, and I don't know, it just was not really my cup of tea. The plot and the premise of the book is very interesting, and it's a very interesting and unique kind of storyline. However, it just didn't grab me in and it just didn't really hold my attention. The characters, again, like I said, I didn't connect with. Maybe they were just too young. I felt like if I would have read this series years ago, back more when I was in high school and more when it kind of first came out, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. But now that I'm older, I don't know if just my age compared to the characters just didn't work out. I don't really have trouble connecting with characters who are a lot younger than me usually, but these ones I don't know, I just really could not connect with them at all. I had a hard time getting through this book, but I stuck through it and I did finish it. It did get me in my reading slump, but I did enjoy it. It just wasn't what I was expecting, and it didn't quite grip me as much as I was hoping. I did give this one 3 out of 5 stars, and I'm kind of hoping that the series picks up a little bit more and it kind of is able to grab my attention a little bit more. But yes, like I said, I did enjoy it, but just really wasn't my favorite. So after that, I decided to pick up the second book, Pretties, and again, kept me in my reading slump. I probably shouldn't have done that right away, and I probably should have read a book in between, but I didn't. And so I went ahead and read Pretties, and these 2 books took me about the whole month to get through. And yeah, it just was the same. This one I think I liked this one even less than I liked Uglies. I had a lot of high hopes at the end of Uglies for how this one would turn out, Pretties would, but it didn't work for me. I thought Tally was the most annoying person as a pretty, and I just hated her as a pretty, and she grind my gears, and I just was hoping a lot more to dive into the pretty life, but it really didn't work for me, and she did not work for me as a pretty, and she should not. No, it didn't work. I also hated the love triangle. I hate love triangles to begin with, and then when I was already having troubles with this series, you throw in this unnecessary love triangle. Okay, maybe it was a little bit necessary. That's kind of a lie, but to me it was just unnecessary and annoying, and just, come on, let's be a little straightforward, and why do we have to always throw in a third party into this? And I just didn't like him, and I didn't like their connection as pretties, and I just, again, annoying. I just did not like her perspective through a pretty. Yeah, I did give this one 3 out of 5 stars, and I do plan on continuing the series. I do plan on reading the 3rd book in July, just so that I can kind of finish the trilogy part of it. I don't know when I'm going to get to the 4th book because it follows different characters. I didn't know that until I read the back of that book. I just don't really have any interest at this moment to read about new characters when I'm already having so much trouble connecting with these characters. So I'm going to hold off a little bit on the 4th book. I don't quite know when I'll get to it, but I do plan on reading the 3rd book in July, and I really do hope it concludes and picks up a little bit more and gives me back my hope for this series. The final book I read in June was Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I wanted to pick up something kind of fluffy and light and romance contemporary. That's kind of the genre that I go to when I'm in a reading slump. It just always works to get me out of my reading slump, and since I'm kind of out of contemporary romances in physical form as of now, I've read all of them, I turned to my Kindle, which I have not read a book on in over a year, so that is awful. I just haven't really gone on vacations, and this is kind of the thing that I take with me when I do those, so I just kind of stockpile a bunch of free books on here so that when I do, I can go ahead and read them. But I decided to scroll through my Kindle and I found this book, and so I decided to pick it up. Did really enjoy it, and it did get me out of my reading slump. I've already done very good in July about reading, and So this one worked very well in helping me with that. This is about two best friends, Lily and Lauren, who have been best friends for ever basically, and they kind of have this fake relationship going on so that their parents kind of don't suspect anything because they are both addicted to something. Lily happens to be addicted to sex and Lo happens to be addicted to alcohol. And so they kind of have a cover-up between themselves from their families, and so they're faking this relationship so that they can kind of act out on their addictions. I thought this book had a great play on addictions, and it really made you feel for the characters and understand their addictions and kind of the importance of what a person goes through when they're addicted to something. A little trouble getting into this book just because of Lily's addiction. She was addicted to sex, and before you really got to know anything about Lily or you got to kind of connect with her, the whole first 30-40 pages were just her constantly hooking up with people, random people, and having sex, and it was like, oh, they met this guy and then it cut out, and then it went to a new guy and cut out, and it didn't really explain anything about her addiction. And so it took me a little bit to get into it, but once you got to know a little bit more about Lily and you got to know a little bit more about Lo, you kind of felt for them and you kind of understood more about it. I do really recommend this one, and it just has a really great plot around addictions, and it really helps you understand what people go through with addictions, and it just really kind of opens your eyes. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and yeah, so I gave this one, I believe, 4 to 5 stars, and I do want to continue the series soon. So that is all I read in June, and hopefully July goes a lot better and I read a lot more books than I did last month. It's already just the beginning of July and I've already read the same amount that I have now, so going strong this month, going strong. So that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.